Okay, so hello. My name's Annie Webb. I've been coaching for 5 years. I figured I would give you like a little bit of a backstory of how I started with Beachbody, just to kind of get to know me a little bit. So I was in a corporate job for most of my adult life, and once I started having kids, I was like, oh, I just had those like heartstrings pulling, and it was really hard for me to go to work and say goodbye to them and miss them all day long. And so my husband and I got to a place where we decided that staying home was something we were worth like sacrificing certain things in life for. And so I pulled that plug and quit my job in January of 2014. And while I was in the corporate world, and although I had like been pretty successful, I would say, with like losing some of my baby weight, I also gained a lot of that back once I went back to work after my maternity leave. And so I found myself like turning things down, not wanting to do certain things, like go to the beach, being in a bathing suit with my kids, because I was just mortified because I had put on all this weight. So I knew I needed to do something. So I started to focus on myself. And I had a big struggle with that because going to the gym, having my toddler pulling on my arm, like basically, I'm not even joking with this, like drawing blood on my arm, trying to drop them off at daycare because I was trying to do something for myself, just really like pulled at that mom guilt that much more. And so 4 months into trying to do like my own thing with trying to lose weight, I had gained like 30 pounds when I went back to work. And I was like, this is just not, this is not cutting it. Like, what's going on? Like, how can I fix this? And I stumbled upon a challenge group call to action post that Megan had put up on Facebook. And I was like, damn, I would do anything for that body. Like, what is she doing? I want to know all the things. And at that point, I had tried different things like Body by Buy. I had tried Arbonne. I had tried Herbalife. I tried all these things with shakes involved. And I'm like, not about shakes. And so when I reached out and she told me about her challenge group, I was like, all right, I'm totally all about the challenge group, but I'm not about the shakes. So can I still join and not do your shakes? And she's like, yeah, totally. You know what? I get it. And because I kind of gave that backstory. She's like, I totally get it. I'll give you samples and let me know how they work, and we'll go from there, but you're welcome to join the group. So I did, and I was really grateful for that. Started trying the samples, and a week into trying the samples, I had lost 2 pounds, which was basically what I lost in 4 months on my own. So I'm like, okay, something with these shakes is probably like legit. Maybe I need to keep going with this. So and mind you too, being on a single income household at that point, it was a struggle to like put that money, out for Shakeology. I was like, oh, I don't know if I could spend that much money on myself right now. But because I was seeing the results, I ended up deciding to just go all in and give it my all, and ended up losing 8 pounds in that first month of my very first challenge with Beachbody, with my upline coach. And then she had approached me and she said, hey, I'm just really curious, like, have you ever considered coaching? You would be really good at it. Like, I feel like you're a rock star in this challenge group, and I think you should really consider it. Plus, you get 25% off. And I was like, 25% off? Ding, ding, ding. I'm like, yes, please. So, because obviously, again, being a single income household, anything to help me save money, something that was working, I didn't think that I'd have to carry on for a second month. I thought, oh, I'm going to lose this weight and it's just going to stay and I'll be good forever. But, I decided, let's go all in. Let's say yes. Let's get this discount and just see where it goes. I liked what she was doing. I had actually had a conversation with my husband prior to her inviting me to be a coach. I was like, God, this is her job. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is really what she does for work? Like, I want to do that. And so the fact that she invited me, I was flattered. So saying yes to it didn't really mean that I felt like comfortable with being a coach. It took me a while to really confidently say that I was a Beachbody coach, but I started to organically share and do what coaches do. And so she kept kind of reminding me that that's what I was doing. And I was like, okay, so I can do this. So I don't have to, as coaches, I'm sure you guys all have heard this a million of times, but you know, you hear those things like, you have the objections of, well, I'm not at my goal weight, or I'm not a fitness trainer, I'm not certified in this, I can't be a coach. And it's totally false, because really it's about being relatable. And if you can just share your journey and be relatable with people, then people are going to want to do whatever it is that you're doing. So I started to do that in that first 3 months, and I became a success starter. I actually hit Success Club Beyond 5 in my first 3 months. And it was all very organic and not forced, and just purely out of heart, because I truly had such a joy in making an impact in other people's lives, and finally finding tools that actually lasted, that were sustainable, things that weren't a yo-yo diet, things that that would just last. And so fast forward a couple of, you know, I tried to roll with that when I first became a coach, but I let fear hold me back for way too long, you guys. Like, I'm a coach for 5 years, and it probably wasn't until about 2 years ago that I really took it seriously and felt confident with calling myself a coach. And I look back at when I first started, and I thought to myself, like, God, if I had just kept going and rolling with it when I just went guns blazing, like totally organic and whatnot, like, I can't even imagine where I would be now. However, I don't let that hold me back. I think that one of the biggest pieces of advice that I'm going to share tonight is continuing to have your heart in it. And that's where you're going to just be organic. That's where the conversations that you're going to have, whether cold or warm market, are going to just come from your heart, and it's going to feel real, and people will be able to feel that on the other side. So I think I'll roll into the questions now, and because I think that one of the things I want to emphasize on is having cold conversations. Because I remember, and I wish I could tell you who it was that said this, but it stuck with me. And it was, there is no cold conversation unless if you make it cold. So if you're having a conversation with somebody that you've never met, it's only going to be cold if you make it cold. If you sound super robotic, then it's going to be cold. But if you put some personality into it, they're going to feel that. They're going to feel that on the other side. And I'll share some of the tools that I've used to make it warm. And I've had actually people respond to me saying, gosh, like, that was really cool of you. Like, I just really didn't know you from Adam, but now I feel like I know you. And now I feel like you're like this real human being on the other side of this computer screen. And so, so as far as like, so there's a couple questions that Tori had shared with me. So, for example, like, what do I say, or do I jump right into telling the person that I'm talking to that I'm a coach, or do I make it really brief when I'm initially like outreaching? Do I just say thank you for liking my post? I'll share this with you. So when I first started coaching, there were scripts, and I never felt really good about using the scripts, but I really liked the scripts because I felt like it gave me a little bit of a starting point. But I think it's really important to make sure that you're always putting yourself in that script. If you're using scripts, you've always got to personalize them. There is not one single conversation that I'm having with any potential client right now, potential prospect, potential coach. Like, there is not any conversation that I'm having right now that's one and the same. And so keep that in mind when you're outreaching, that you've got to personalize it. And so maybe that's as simple as if you're looking at like your last call to action post, and maybe that's a transformation post, and you posted it last Tuesday and you haven't gotten to it, then you use this week as an opportunity to reach out to those people. And so you go through your list of people that you that like that post. And maybe it's your mom, your brother, your husband, your best friend, but then it's a bunch of people that are following you. You reach out to those people, and you can look on the message string that you've had with those people, and you can say, okay, I've never had a direct message conversation with them. So do I feel comfortable with reaching out to them and saying, hey, would you be interested in joining my challenge group? Or are you interested in coaching? Based on whatever that call to action is. So for example, one of like a cold invites that I would use for somebody that I felt comfortable with using this is, hey, thank you so much for the love of my last transformation post. I really appreciate it. And then I could say something like, hey, I checked out your page and it looks like you're really super into fitness. I'm just curious, like, have you ever considered doing what I do? I wouldn't say that somebody that I didn't like scope out their page and make sure that they're into fitness. But that would be a cold invite because I've never had conversation with them before, but they're super into fitness. I wouldn't just say that to anybody. I have, when I've had transformation posts, I've done the mass invite, and you guys, it doesn't necessarily always pay off. So I feel like it's really important to do what you feel is right in your heart, and always lead with your heart, because I've done that and it's not necessarily paid off. However, when you have stepped out of your comfort zone and you've invited people, just because they're not responding now does not mean that they're not going to respond in a couple of months, a year, or even 2 years. And I'll give you an example. Friday morning, I got a text from a friend of mine's wife, and I thought, oh, they're probably just wanting to plan something for like a future like double date night. So I'm going to get back to her when I can, because I was only focused on work hours at that point. Well, I finally got back to her in the evening, and it turns out her and her friend were interested in starting with Shakeology, and I was like, oh shoot. So I had reached out to her over 2 years ago and invited her to the coaching opportunity because her and her husband are into fitness. And I remember coming home super fired up from a Success Club trip, and it was like, you know what, just invite anyone that you can imagine. So I did, and I 2 years later, she's finally joining me with Shakeology. So, you know, even though you might get into these like moments where you've taken Energize and you feel like you can go in and just invite everybody in the world and you don't get anybody to respond to you, you still will possibly have those people respond to you, and it may not just be now, it might be in 2 years. So keep that in mind as well when you're reaching out to people. So I hope that do you guys want me to elaborate on that at all as far as outreach? Are you guys good with that? Good. Okay. And I mean, the other thing is too, is that when people when they initially follow you, I have used third party, I forget what the name of the company was, but I have, Stim Social, I think was what it was called, where I created my own personal response to people that were following me. And as much as I thought it was great to be able to do that and utilize a third party, it wasn't like, although I could personalize it, I canceled it. And the reason being is I'm not personally doing it. It could be personable, but it's not me personally doing it. So I'm not really creating that relationship, because it's doing it on its own behind the scenes without me knowing it. And when people really follow me, I didn't feel genuine. And so there's a lot of tools out there, but I think sometimes that's almost, you get kind of caught up in the numbers game and trying to build this following, and that definitely happened with me at some point where I just wanted to get to this place with my Instagram following. But I think, again, leading with heart, being genuine, being personable goes so much further in the long run. Okay, so struggle with organization and being concise instead of overcomplicating everything. That was another question that came in. And let me tell you, I like to think that I'm very organized, but I even struggle even being organized. And I will, before the end of the call, I will pull up my calendar, because I created something on a Google Calendar that I have it broken out basically on what to talk about when it comes to like a call to action post on any given day. And then I try to structure my week on what I'm going to be talking about on my stories, like what I'm going to be promoting, whether it be a clean eating challenge, the next launch, or maybe it's the current program I'm doing, maybe it's a sneak peek into coaching. whatever it may be. So I try to stay organized that way, so I'm not bombarding my Instagram following with the exact same thing every day. As well as I have a little thing where I have found that it's working as far as the algorithm goes, but I pick a letter of the day through the entire month. So you basically cover the entire alphabet, Monday through Friday. So for example, like let's say it's Monday, maybe the letter's A. So I'm going to go through my Facebook and my Instagram following, and I'm going to focus on those that are following me or that I'm following with the letter A. So their first initial, the way you type it in Instagram, it might just pull the letter A, so it might be their first name or last name. So you might hit them a couple times a month, which is actually great, but it has really been beneficial because those that have been kind of dead in the water for a little bit, once I start interacting with them, all of a sudden I'm finding them liking my post, commenting on my post, we're having more interaction, and I find that if I'm at least touching upon each letter of the alphabet every single month, then once a month I'm interacting with that person. And then it's an opportunity as well as if I've forgotten it about somebody, I haven't been tracking my communication with them very regularly, that all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I forgot about them. And I can follow up with them. Hey, I invited you last month and we've been doing so great with this challenge group, and I'm so bummed that you'd missed out on this opportunity, but I'm starting my next one on XYZ date or whatever, and hey, would you be interested in doing the next one? So it's an opportunity to kind of do an additional follow-up, maybe somebody that slipped through the cracks. So I definitely stay organized in that way with my follow-up, because I do use Teamsy for follow-up, but just like anybody, I mean, I am human, so raising 2 kids, trying to juggle the schedule with everything going on in just life. I'm not perfect by any means, so I don't have any particular day that looks exactly the same. I try my best to do all the activities on the business activity tracker, and I try to commit Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday are kind of, I think we all need an opportunity to have some downtime. As much as I would love to be a top 10 coach or even a top 50 coach, there's different, I have priority in my life, and that's my family. And so as I give it as much as I can, and so sometimes that's not the weekend. So when it comes to organization, when it comes to doing the things, you got to find the balance in your life as well, so that you don't get burned out on it, and you continue to find the joy and you lead with your heart. Let's see. So then,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle. So how much time do you spend a day? Like, if you're on a good day and a bad day, how much time are you spending beyond your workout and maybe reading your personal development?
So that's literally all over the board, because I was having the conversation with my husband as we were driving home from dinner, and he's like, you work your ass off. Excuse my French, but he's like, and I do. There are days where I sit at my desk the entire day, but that might be, building things that are going to help me stay organized as I grow. That might be, diving into something, like I'm creating something. Maybe it's Push to Emerald group, or maybe it's doing something other than the regular activities. Because truly, if we don't think about it too much, because I've been doing something new just recently. At 10 o'clock in the morning, I log on to a link, and whoever can log on, which you are all welcome to if it works out for you, it's Pacific Standard Time, is we're doing a live power hour. And it forces us to just do the things that are at least on that tracker. And if we need to shorten the amount of time, because it's 20 minutes for outreach, like communicating with people, growing your following, maybe we only spend 5 to 10 minutes so we can work down the list, but we're touching upon everything. So there are days where it might be just an hour. And then there are days that I've literally spent from finishing my workout to going to bed, with little breaks in between. It's broken up where I'm picking up the girls or I'm taking them to their activities. During the summertime, I would say on average maybe 4 hours, because I was up so early with my workouts. And by the time the girls got up, I was able to kind of put work away and move on with my day and spend it with them. So it's hard. I would say anything from an hour to all day. So no day is the same. So, and that's what I actually am really grateful for, you know, because if somebody calls you up, like your best friend's like, hey, you want to go grab some lunch? Sure. Why not? You know? So I hope that helps. I know it's kind of very broad.
No, it does. It does. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so then another question was getting to commitment, like people completely committing. When it comes to money, usually that scares people off. And y'all, I 1000% relate on a regular basis. And it's very frustrating because people reach out to you because you know that they need your help. And then all of a sudden they shy up when it comes to spending $140 or $160 on themselves. And you're like, are you kidding? Like, how much money are you spending at Starbucks every month? Or how much money are you spending on XYZ per month? And so I totally get it. And I have to say that I think that no matter if you're us or if you're a top 10 coach, they're all going to get the same responses. The difference between y'all and me and like the top 10 is maybe the number of people that they're speaking to. So maybe if they're talking to 100 people, their potential, and they have 10% of that telling them that it's too expensive, it doesn't seem as impactful to them. Like it's not like they just brush it off. For us, we're only talking to 10 potentials and we get 1 or 2 people telling us that it's super expensive. Maybe the rest are ghosting us. We're just like, oh, like what the heck? But you know what? There are people out there that are ready. And I think that we just have to continue talking to more and more people. And then continue to follow up with the people that are saying it's too expensive because maybe it's just not the right time right now. And I have an example of that from last year. I ended up going to a wedding and with my husband. It was a coworker. Their wedding planner totally bailed out with them last minute, like the day of the wedding, their bartender and all. So my husband and I stepped up to the plate, bartended. So we ended up staying very sober through the whole wedding and got to interact with all these people. And a wife of a coworker was so interested in joining. She's like, I'm in it, you know, talking all the things, like so excited. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I kept following up with her every single month. And she's like, it's too expensive. I know I said I was in, but I just can't do that right now. Well, now a year later, she's doing Morning Meltdown 100. She's down 10 pounds. She's now considering being a coach. She's now going to go to our Super Sunday event. And somebody that I almost wanted to give up on because I followed up with her every single month. And she kept telling me, no, it's not the right time. I'm not ready, or it's too expensive. But I just kept asking. And now she's, you know, one of those that are getting the results and interested in coaching and the whole bit. So I think that people sometimes they need that extra push, but really when it comes down to it, people need to be ready. They need to be ready to make that mindset change and shift. And if they're not, it's like leading that horse to water, but then forcing them to drink, you can't, you know? I mean, so, and I've had so many people even commit and not even be the issue with money, but they've committed by purchasing. And I've followed up with them every single month since. A couple in mind, like right now, that I'm like so frustrated with because they've committed, they've spent the money, and they're not doing anything with it. And it makes me so sad because they want this so bad for themselves. And I follow up with them regularly, and they continue to ghost me. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm that stalker. I'm going to keep stalking you until you tell me, Annie, back off. Don't follow up with me anymore. I'm not interested. But they don't. So I'm going to continue to follow up because maybe they committed, but they're still not fully ready. They're not fully invested. So when it comes to the commitment, just keep trying. I think that I think I kind of nailed that with like, you just need to have somebody that's in the right mindset, you know, and if they're not, like, and we can only continue to inspire. And I've been there on the side of like, okay, I'm inspiring. I get that. Like I'm doing my thing every day and I'm reaching out to people and then they're responding to me and saying, oh, you're so inspiring. Like, I wish I could do what you're doing. And it's like, oh, like you just want to take them to that next place, but they really have to be ready for them to go to that next place. So I hope that helps. I mean, really just continue to lead with your heart, continue to do the things that you're doing, being product of the product. You're your own, you know, billboard, and you are inspiring people every single day. So I hope that helps you guys with that.
We have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or shuts off.
Okay. Let's see. The last question was, I mean, kind of like it was getting like new ways of getting people to commit in different ways. So here's another option. I'm toying with this idea, and I'll keep this short and sweet in case there's any questions that come up that you guys want to ask before we end. Different ways of getting people to commit. So I just this on Friday, I posted a little story clip of inviting people to do a clean week challenge with me. I haven't really promoted that since it came out. And so I thought this is an opportunity for me to get people to commit for a week, maybe get results with that, and then maybe want to long-term do a 30-day once they realize they can commit for 1 week. So I think it's a matter of trying to do different things. Like, and also don't feel just like you have to commit to one program right now just because it's the only program or it's the program that just launched. Like, play around with that. Maybe it's not appealing to your following. So you've got to play around with some polls and get, you know, ask people like, are you into cardio or are you into weights? Are you into, you know, we have bar method. Are you more into bar and yoga, etc.? So then maybe that can lead you into leading something that's maybe shorter, and that will help you guys get people that can get some quick results and then want to commit to something more long-term that's also more expensive. So, okay. I know we only have a couple more minutes, so do you guys have any other questions that you guys want to ask before we get cut off? Did that help? I hope.
Yeah, I wrote down some notes and I liked it all. I like that you were just talking about being relatable, and I liked how you talked about finding the balance in your life. Oh, Michelle, I was going to say, just did a training about what I'm doing with Melanie Mitro in the team. Yeah, catch those in the team page because it talks about scheduling. She is like super organized.
Yay!
Yes, she's your like spirit animal. So, so I thought that was awesome. Yeah, does anybody have any questions about anything? You know, sorry, now I'm just jibber jabbering, but I was going to say, I was thinking this morning of when my coach asked me, and I realized she never asked me even any questions. And had she like pushed a little bit more and said like, well, so are you feeling good? Are you liking going to the gym? Like, are you hitting your goals? Like, that's where I always take it to that next level. And I talk about that all the time, but just trying to get people to think different. I thought about that because she asked me like 3 times and just said, I think you'd like this. And I said, no, I go to the gym. See you later. But had she been like, so are you enjoying the gym? Or just go a little bit deeper and have more of those heartfelt conversations like Annie was talking about. I think that was really good. So like leading with your heart and what is comfortable for you. Everything that I'm like learning and listening to is like what works for you because it's different for every coach. So
now, and after this last summit, you know, with the emphasis on you belong here, that being the major theme, I really got to thinking, and it's about making it a joy of making an impact on other people's lives. And we're so fortunate to be able to do that. And so measuring success along the way, like you guys, there's so many months that I haven't hit Success Club. And my goal has always been to be a success all-star or whatnot. But that we're not always going to hit some of those types of goals. So keep that in mind. Don't let that be a reason to stop or to quit. Like, you got to keep going. And I'll leave you with this in case we get cut off, is that, oh my gosh, Jeff Hill, I want to call him Jim Hill for some reason. Jeff Hill said, no matter what, if you achieve a goal or if you don't achieve a goal, you can either celebrate for 24 hours or you're allowed to wallow within 24 hours. And then from there, you start a new day and you keep moving forward. Because if you keep celebrating, then you're getting caught up on the celebration and you're going to not continue to work, right? Or if you get caught up in the defeat, then you're also not going to work. So wallow or celebrate for 24 hours, but then just keep going and find that joy in it, making an impact on people's lives, and always lead with your heart.
5 seconds.
Thank